Well, I think it would be fair to say that this past week was a difficult week for most investors, most of you. I don't suspect many of the professionals, if you will, watch my YouTube channel. But I think you need to look back and understand what happened. In my portfolio, I had the best day I ever had on Monday. It was up substantially. And then on Tuesday, if I, just from my mind putting it together, Mark Cuban came on to CNBC, I believe it was on Tuesday, and made the statement that he thought he was seeing another dot-com bubble. And he didn't call it a dot-com bubble, he called it a tech bubble. And his explanation was there are a lot of companies, he said, that are coming out with products, with applications of technology and calling themselves technology companies when they're really not. They're merely creating a device that uses technology and has the potential to use technology in the future to make them grow. I would use one of those, I would say, would be Live and Go. And then he also said there are people who are just making a small change in the way things are done through technology. And again, they're calling themselves technology companies. We see that with Lemonade. Lemonade is merely replacing the salesperson with a bot. They aren't even an insurance company. They sell any insurance that they sell it to a reinsurer, and most of that goes to Berkshire Hathaway. So that, I think, caused a fervor, a little bit of rustle in the weeds that, hey, maybe this isn't real. And people started doubting. Well, when people start doubting, the next thing that happens is the algorithms start kicking in, and the computer trading starts kicking in, and we saw that, and it just kept going and kept going, and we saw then initially a shift from the NASDAQ market, which had done so well, and then that shift went over to the S&P, and some of the S&P stocks were doing well, and the NASDAQ were doing poorly. Then everything went poor because, again, the algorithms kicked in even harder. I had done a video, Tesla came out and beat predictions, and there were some questions as to how they put their numbers together. And then I did a video because I dug a little deeper than most and said, look, it isn't all about the car. There's a lot to do with the battery, and Elon is way ahead of everybody on this. But still, Tesla crashed. I had gone out and said it'll never see these numbers again, and I was proven wrong the very next day. So what is happening again, and I did a video about how the weak get killed in these kind of markets, is the wolves came over the hills. I did a video talking about how the elk in the winter in Yellowstone Park get fed upon by the wolves that attack them, and that's just what happened in the last 2 days. You, the amateur investor, have made some profits, you felt good about it, and the wolves came over the hill, and you saw them, and your heart started pounding very rapidly, and you said, somebody's going to die here today, and it isn't going to be me, and you pressed the sell button. Well, when you pressed the sell button, that took it a little lower, and then someone else pressed the sell, and the algorithms came in, and the computers started trading, and they're having a field day. So what did we learn from this? Well, first of all, we need to learn that it's not over. It's going to get rough as we go. And we need to look at a stock before we buy it and say, could one of the major tech companies replace this stock if they chose to? Or are they more unique and they're a buying target? So that's the decision we have to make. And that's going to keep us out of that tech bubble landmine field. there's going to be a lot of them who are going to step up and say, look, we've got a new shining object and you need to buy it. Again, ask yourself, could Amazon replace that? And I take you back, and if you've gotten my letter this past week, you saw that I shared with you that Amazon is going into the automobile insurance business in India. Now, I think it's realistic to think this is a test ground. This is something that eventually is going to come here. So looking at Lemonade under that light, looking at Lemonade understanding that all they are is an insurance broker that sells the product that they created, the insurance policy, to Berkshire Hathaway, and then has a gimmick that says, hey, don't cheat and don't put in false claims because we're going to put part of your premiums into charity. Well, if somebody's going to cheat, they're going to cheat. If they're a cheater, they're a cheater. They probably aren't given to charity anyway. So it's a gimmick. And recognize it for a gimmick, and recognize that there's a good reason why Amazon might get into the insurance business, and then live and go. There's nobody making more wearables than Google and Apple. And if what we're doing is monitoring health, then wearables are going to be a big part of it. Is Live and Go going to be able to do that? Probably not. They don't have the money. They don't have the technology. I don't believe they're a profitable company, if I remember right. So they will be replaced or they'll be bought out. So knowing that, we now know where the bubble is and what it looks like. And we will ask ourselves the question, when we look at a stock, could the big 5 tech companies buy them or replace them? If the answer is yes, either way, we probably want to stay away from them, okay? I wrote this book about, the title of it is Who Are You and Why You Are You? And it basically goes through the exercise I went through as to understanding why I behaved the way I did, and understanding why the roommate in my head talked to me the way he did, and then what I had to do to get rid of him. What happened this week reminded me of chapter 17 on page 148, and the title of it is Who Decides If You're Good Enough? It recounts the experience I had on, I believe it was probably a September day when I was in 8th grade. It was the first time I tried out for a football team. And I was a skinny, 5 foot, maybe 7, 8 kid, and weighed about 150 pounds. And I went out for football, as did about 80 other kids. And what they did was they had us go through exercises, and the coaches then picked, you go over there, you keep going through the exercises. And I was being passed over. My dad was standing outside the fence, and he came over and he called me over to the fence, and I went over and spoke to him, and he asked me, he said, Kobe, that was my nickname, Kobe, before Kobe Bryant. Kobe, do you believe in yourself? And I said, well, yeah, Dad. He said, do you believe you're a good football player and you can be a good football player? I said, yeah. He said, are you the fastest kid out here? I said, yeah, I am, Dad. I've already proved that. He said, these guys here, these coaches don't know that. And they aren't going to figure it out because you're small. So you go over and get in the line with those that they've chosen. But I said, Dad, they haven't chosen me. He said, they don't know how good you are. You do. Because you've done the work. You've built up your legs. You've built up your body. You just don't have a lot of weight on. You know how good you are. So have faith in yourself and go get in that line. I refused to do it. I went through another exercise because I knew I could prove them. I could prove those coaches wrong. They passed me over again. I went over and got in the line. 4 years later, I was an all-state linebacker. That's what you have to know. That's what you have to do. You have to get this bullshit out of your head that you don't know what you're doing. But first, you got to know what you're doing. And that means you educate yourself. If you want to make wealth in this market, you have to be smarter than everybody else in the market. It's truly that simple. You have to be smarter and you have to believe in yourself. Now, this was a tough week. Next week could be tougher. I don't think so, though. I think that we've weeded the weaklings out, and I think we'll probably have another down day on Monday. But then I think we'll start building. I think we'll start building again on the good companies, on the Amazons, on the Googles, on the Teslas, the people who are going to change the way you live. And as long as you understand how they're going to change the way that you live and how they're going to change the way that people live in India and Africa and around the world, and they're going to take the knowledge base that they've accumulated here in the United States over the past 10 years and apply it to the rest of the world over the next 5 years, there's no question what's going to happen. It's just, what is the path going to look like until we get there? It's going to be rough. Go back and look at your chart and see if Amazon went up in a straight line. No. See if Google went up in a straight line. No. There are dips because the wolves come and scare the sissies every so often. And if you're a sissy and you doubt yourself, you won't go over and get in the winner's line, then you're going to be eaten. You're one of the weak because you haven't built your strength. And the strength is in your mind. That's where wealth is gained. It is not in your checkbook. It is not in any form of currency. Wealth is up here. And you use it to gain access to currency.